September is upon us, folks, so I guess that means it's time for me to put on some fuzzy socks and just stay in bed all day watching YouTube videos. Okay, seriously though, I feel like as soon as September hits me, I'm in full-on fall mood, lighting scented candles and drinking tea like the maniac that I am, even though it's like 25 degrees outside. Is that just me? Okay, well anyways, go ahead and get your bullet journal, get a nice cup of tea if you want, or just sit back and relax and let's get planning. For my cover page, I wanted to do a watercolor illustration of the thing that reminds me most of fall, a tree with all those beautiful colors, reds and yellows and bright oranges. So I got some watercolor paper and I found this gorgeous photo on Pinterest that I used as a reference. I just started with a rough pencil sketch of the tree and the branches and then went in with a darkish brown and a flat medium-sized brush. For the smallest branches I used this teeny tiny brush, which worked great for that. The secret to drawing branches is just to kind of wiggle your brush so that the branches are nice and irregular, which is perfect for people who just can't draw straight lines, which, you know, includes me. I just let it dry and then went over it with another darker layer. And after that was dry, I used a lot of water and just let the watercolor spread across the paper so that I would have a base coat of color to work with. If you happen to have any pooling of color in the warped parts of the paper like me, just use a paper towel to dab them away lightly. After all that was completely dry, I switched to gouache paint since it is usually more vibrant than watercolor, and I applied it with a sponge to add some interesting texture. I also applied some water onto the sponge to blend the colors together. Next, I redefined the branches that got lost in the watercolor. And then got my tiny brush again to add leaf-like dots all over the paper with red and yellow. As a last step, to add even more texture, I diluted the colors with a lot of water and then flicked my brush so that it splatters onto the painting. I also defined the edges of the branches with a Sakura Pigma Micron fine liner. And then lastly, I removed the washi tape, glued the painting to my cover page, and removed the excess around the edges. For my actual title, I used a washi tape by Muji and wrote September on top of it with my Uniball Signo white gel pen. I also decided to add a few gold specks and a drop shadow with the same brand of gel pen, but just in the gold version. For the other page, I did a little illustration of a candle because they always remind me of cozy nights in fall, and I used more watercolor to create a gradient effect and just let the colors spread and bleed into one another. Once that was dry, I again removed the tape and I used a pigment micron around the edges of the candle. And then I sketched out the quote I found, which is, "The only thing getting lit this month are my fall scented candles," which is very accurate for me at least. I wrote it with my pigment micron and the Tombow fudenosuke in different styles of lettering. And then cut out the candle and glued it into the middle of the left page. To tie it in with my cover, I added some more specks of gold around the candle. And also doodled some leaves with my pigment micron and filled them in with different shades of zebra mite liners and one orange Tombow dual brush pen.
You see, stereophonic sound for the home is recorded on 2 separate tracks, each one giving special emphasis to certain sections of the orchestra, as heard from those positions. Now, when played back simultaneously on 2 separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension.
Moving on to my monthly overview, I kept it simple and pretty much the same as the last month, with some horizontal stripes in the yellow shade of zebra mite liner divided by a red shade. The boxes are each 6 spaces wide and 5 spaces tall, in case you're wondering, and I wrote the dates with my palette juice pen and the days of the week with my Tombow fudenosuke. For the sidebar, I added a goals and a expenses section, and that's when my camera died. And I just added a notes and tasks section, so nothing special, and then just doodled some more leaves along the bottom and the top of the calendar. I used those same 3 shades of mite liners to fill in the leaves, so a yellow, a red, and a muted purplish pink. I used the next 2 pages as a brain dump double spread, and I used the same washi tape as a base for my header and wrote brain dump with the same white gel pen and a pigment micron pen. Next I added a gold border around the top and the bottom of the page, and then framed the sides with more leaf doodles and more specks of gold. Can you see a pattern? I think you can. I did really enjoy the doodles this month, just because they're so simple and quick to do, but they still look kind of cute. So last but not least, I did my first weekly spread of the month, and I did pretty much the same layout as in my last video, so 8 boxes, 12 by 10 spaces, 7 for each day of the week, and 1 for notes at the end. I used the pilot juice pen for the weekdays and the dates. And of course I messed up and wrote a 9 at the notes section, but let's just pretend we didn't see anything. The only thing I did change was to add sections for tasks, expenses, habits, and next week. And for my habits I wrote them vertically and then added 7 circles for each day of the week that I can fill in once completed. I found these tiny habit trackers very useful, so let me know if you like them too. And of course I added some more leaf doodles. Now let's get into the final flip through. I really enjoyed this month's theme because fall really is my favorite season, so leave me a comment down below on what your favorite season is and why. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, I really do appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe if you like my content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!